Hello friends, this week we're going to be talking about fan fiction, and I'm not talking about the kind that you read in bed at 3 a.m. with the covers pulled all the way over your head so no one knows you're still awake. Just me? No? This week we're going to dive into the world of fan-made content. We're talking cosplay, fan art, video game mods, and even reenactments. Fanfiction is just one facet of a grand landscape of fan-made content, but should people be allowed to make it, let alone distribute it, or even sell it? In other words, where's the boundary between someone enjoying art and someone stealing it? Before we get into the video today, I'm so happy to announce that today, August 8th, is my official Patreon launch day. Let's be honest, making art is hard, and we could all use a little help with the basics, whether you're learning it for the first time or just as a reminder. But not everyone can afford to pay for an online course or advanced degree. And while I think there is value in those kinds of education, I'm committed to posting all of my instructional videos for free on my channel. That's why my Patreon subscribers have access to things like live events rather than exclusive content. Will I answer questions and give advice during these live events? Absolutely. But I would also give the same to my regular viewers who leave a comment on any of my videos. Art making is a valuable skill and one of the oldest human traditions, so I don't personally feel comfortable charging people to learn the basics or hone their craft. So what's in it for my patrons? Well, for just $5 a month, you can join my Patreon-only Discord server, where you'll enjoy live events all through October and November to celebrate Inktober, Preptober, and November Writing Month, for those who observe them. Also, I'm a writer, not a website expert, so you'll have a much easier time accessing all of my free guides through the Patreon site that is made to do that kind of thing. Lastly, you'll get to help me write example sentences for my future videos and get a personal shout out here on my YouTube channel. Thank you to all of my patrons who do support me, and thank you to all of my viewers who are only here to watch. So if you are thinking about it, hitting that like button and the subscribe button does go a long way. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the video. Now, when I say fan fiction, most of you probably think of something along the lines of a piece of writing posted on AO3 containing characters from already established piece of fiction, and inexplicably Harry Styles. But today we're going to expand our definition and look at all fan-made content. Have you ever thought of how a little creative borrowing for your D&D campaign is a form of fan fiction? After all, you are a fan, and you're making up a story using elements from a piece of work you particularly like. Similarly, mod creators for video games take a base game that they enjoy and add their own spin or flair to it. This could be changing the art style, adding levels, or changing some of the game's mechanics. But even with a texture pack, Minecraft is Minecraft. So are the modders stealing from the game companies when they distribute add-on content like that? And would it be more stealing if they were to monetize that and make money off of these mods? In my last video, I talked about the copyright gray areas that AI introduces to the creative space, but fanfiction has lived in that gray area for a long time. Fanfiction writers, cosplayers, and fans have a long history of adopting characters and places for their own personal enjoyment outside of the original work. Some artists even sell their fan art at conventions or online, so what makes it okay to reproduce? I'm not gonna lie, copyright law is complex and confusing. That's why entire lawyers specialize in it. And as a disclaimer, I'm not one of those lawyers. Likewise, I can't advise whether it's okay or legal to produce or profit from any particular piece of work. The purpose of this video is simply to bring light to a topic that is often controversial both in the art world and in the fan world. One very popular opinion is that fan fiction is free, and therefore it's okay to distribute it. It's made by fans for fans and posted at no cost to the creator or the consumer. And while creators may use certain names that could be copyrighted, they aren't gaining anything from the fan fiction itself, other than perhaps notoriety among other fans. Some people argue, however, that it's not about what the fans have to gain, but about what the original creator has to lose. If fan-made work damages a company's image or in some way diminishes the original product or potential sales, that company could send a cease and desist letter or pursue legal action in the US, even if the copyright violation is committed by small-time creators or distributed for free. In the AI video, I talked about one of the issues with AI is that it has the potential to put human writers out of business. By the way, you can watch that video, I'll link it down below. But the difference here between AI and fanfiction is that a human writer is never going to put another human writer out of business unless they damage their reputation. While fanfiction has the potential to defame, most people could argue that the content was made by someone in the fanbase who already consumes the content, and that fan-based work will only be consumed by other fans who also already consume the content. Nobody's looking up Star Trek fanfiction who doesn't know any of the characters or the plot. No, it's Star Trek fans. In other words, only the people who support the original work are going to engage in fan-based content for that work. But in some cases, that art could draw the eye of potential readers. For example, if I made fan art for Rachel Aaron's DFZ series, a series that I love, you can bet only readers of Rachel Aaron's series or the other series in that universe will be purchasing or even coming upon that art. However, in some cases, that art could draw the eye of potential readers and could be the ultimate decision between whether or not they will pick up that series. Me saying it right now might be viewed as a recommendation to read it. It is. You should read it. Go read it. So in some respects, fanfiction is word-of-mouth marketing, and unfortunately, Rachel Aaron has no say in what I say about her work, good or bad, correct or otherwise. Maybe you didn't like my fan art and chose not to read the books because of it. I think the other way around is more common, but this certainly could be the case. And this is why copyright law is so confusing and difficult to navigate for real small-time creators who don't have money and means to hire lawyers. Plagiarism is such a cut and dry wrong thing. Plagiarism requires the direct copying of the writing, which in turn would diminish the original work, sales, image, or any combination thereof. If I publish a novel and you publish a novel exactly like it, I might see fewer readers because my readers already read your book. But fanfiction is different. It's transformative and often draws from broader concepts of the work, like the magic system, rather than the specific phrases you use to write it. That's not to say some place names, character names, or specific details can't be claimed as copyright. Wizards of the Coast, for example, who makes Dungeons & Dragons, owns certain names and titles of locations that exist in their universe. So it would be a copyright strike to write another game system using those names and locations. I know I'm drawing pretty heavily on fair use for this video, but I'm not going to tell you exactly how many hells there are. Point being, using that specific name for that specific location is very different than calling your character a dwarf barbarian, because dwarf barbarian is a fantasy term that exists in lots of fantasy books and universes. I recently started reading the book Legends and Lattes. Legends and Lattes, which is often described as a D&D cozy fantasy novel, but the author changes the names for all of the specific items, locations, spells, or anything else that would be direct intellectual property of Wizards of the Coast. Even though it gives D&D vibes, it's not literally D&D. But this book was published, sold in bookstores, distributed widely, very heavily marketed and very well loved. So I guess it would seem, again, not a copyright lawyer, that selling fan fiction isn't necessarily the line between okay and not okay. So where is the line? First, let's talk about reenactments, and I'll give an example. A couple of weeks ago, for my best friend's birthday, some of our nearest and dearest gathered at a campground in western Montana to play our version of the game Survivor. For those uninitiated, Survivor is a popular, long-running TV show hosted by Jeff Probst, in which a group of strangers land on an island, divide into teams, and have to survive together. They complete challenges to win rewards like a hot meal, and the losers vote each other off until there are only 3 survivors remaining. Then a jury of scorned players meets to decide which remaining players wins the title of sole survivor and the $1 million prize. Now, my friends and I don't have a $1 million prize, nor did we have a television crew or a large budget, but we did have my friend Andy. Andy served as the host of our pretend show, and he put a lot of work and dedication into making it really fun and as real to the show as he could. I'm talking months of preparation. He even purchased these special survivor buffs to denote the 2 teams. And look, they say Jalen's birthday birthday on them. How cool is that? I'll do the influencer thing. Ooh. Because that was the whole purpose of the weekend. To play the game, hang out with friends, and celebrate Jaylyn. I was lucky enough to be able to film a lot of the weekend because I would not have been able to play. I was lucky enough to sit on the sidelines and I was able to film a lot of the weekend with permission from all of the players. I also have some clips from my friends who captured moments I wasn't there for. And in the spirit of fan fiction, I want to show you the fun we had over that weekend, complete with a healthy share of betrayal, villain arcs, and praying to the real Jeff Probst. At the end of the video today, I'm going to show you a trailer that I put together as a sneak peek of my 2-episode show that I'll release over the next 2 weeks. But I want to make something very clear. Even though I am posting these videos on my channel, I'm not monetized on this platform, and my friends didn't go to the weekend in order to be filmed or to gain anything from being posted online. I got their permission to post this video, but other than that, they were just there to play the game, and honestly, I was just there to watch. This is an actual birthday party for people who are genuine fans of the show, and that's why I'm showing it to you. This is fan content. Any likeness to the show is intended purely for our own enjoyment and not at all as a criticism toward the original show, much in the way that a fanfic writer might use source material that could be copyrighted to create a brand new piece of fiction and distribute for the pure enjoyment of the fans. That's what I'm going to do today. But I know that this is kind of a gray area, as we've been talking about the whole video, but after hearing all of the arguments for and against fanfiction in the copyright world and in the art world, what are your thoughts on this little home movie version of Survivor played by a bunch of random people in a random campground in Montana? Let me know in the comments below. Without further ado, please enjoy this short trailer, and as always, happy creating. Lisa, who do you think is going to win Survivor this year?
I am. There's who I think is going to win and who I want to win.
Survivor.
I'm bet on me.
Nice. On me.
If you have an immunity idol,
You gotta know.
or any band you would like to play, now would be the time to do so.
I'm a little scared.
About to say he was actually a chopping block.
Somebody underperformed in that challenge.
It's not my time.
I think there's a pretty general consensus. So,
I prefer winning.
Yeah?
We'll get back to that momentarily.
This is supposed to be a challenge. It's gonna test you, okay?
Welcome to Survivor 2025, everybody. Starting tomorrow morning, you will not be allowed to eat any food unless you earn it via rewards.